People don't always believe me when I say I'm bisexual, but I can't imagine what it would have been like for you in the 70s.
I think that there was this grudging acknowledgement that bi people said they existed, right? But it was that same old myth that for men, they were just on the train to Gay Town, and for women, they were just going through a phase, and of course, they'd ultimately choose dick. I mean, not a person, I mean a body part. And yeah.
Not enough men named Dick to go around.
No, we couldn't all have dicks. Well, Jim was clearly, I mean, to me, he was just so clearly not straight. You know, I had moved down to Chicago when I graduated from college to work at the public television station. This was in 1980, just a long time ago. And he came in and he had this long red hair and this massive beard, and he was just like, I don't know what. He wasn't really flamboyant, but he was just like kind of interesting to me. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm not going to waste my time if he's gay. So I found him at Pride. We went to Pride. And I decided, I'm going to check this out. I'm just going to see what's up. And something was up. It's so difficult to convey the visceral fear of that time, you know, and how you could see somebody one night at the club and then the next week you found out they're gone. So many stories. I do have a story I'd like to tell because I think it needs to be told.
Okay.
So in the midst of all this, you know, so many of our friends were dying. We were friends with this one couple. They were very accepting of Jim and I as a bisexual couple, and that was precious to me. Other people didn't see us that way. They were Ed and Tom. This is gonna be hard. So we had them over for dinner all the time. Jim's a really good cook. And they were scheduled to come to our house one night. And the day before, I get this call from one of my friends, and they said, what happened to Tom? Do you know what happened to Tom? And I said, what are you talking about? And they said, well, we heard Tom was sick. So we call Ed, and Ed's frantic. He was in the hospital. He had come down with a high fever and just all kinds of issues. And he said, I don't know what to do. He says he's really tired, and Jim was in the medical field. So we go down there. No one will go into his room. And Jim looks at him and he says, well, has he been tested for anything? And Ed said, I don't know. They won't talk to me. They think he has AIDS. And so Jim is like, well, did they even check anything else? You know, and they didn't. So Jim went and talked to the nurse in charge, and she's very dismissive. You know, well, I mean, we know he's a gay man. He's in a relationship with a man. Jim says, well, that doesn't mean he has AIDS. You know, they wouldn't go in, wouldn't take care of him. Nobody wanted to draw his blood. Nobody wanted to draw his blood. He died within hours. He had meningitis. He could have just gotten antibiotics. He would have been fine. One of many, but unnecessary. Be fierce. Look for the people who support you. And remember, you come from a long history of people who have stood up, who have stood out, and who have spoken out. And that's why, in many ways, our days now are so much better and so much different.